This is a brief history of cybercrime. Since such electronic systems arrived, there were attempts to attack this electronic device for whatever purpose, for whatever reason. Already in 1903, when Guglielmo Marconi demonstrated the first transatlantic radio link, signals were intercepted by Neville Maskelyne, and unauthorized messages were sent to the receiver instead. So even in the first experiments to bridge the Atlantic for transmitting radio information over the Atlantic, there was people that tried to attack this and to use this link to send unauthorized messages. From the 1930s and during the Second World War, there were even sometimes industrial organized attempts to break into crypto systems, for example, to break into the famous Enigma encryption. They succeeded to do this, so they could encrypt all the information sent from the German army. The famous Alan Turing was the head of this industrial organized decryption station in UK. Then later in the 1970s, there was a phone phreak movement in the US. And this phone phreak movement, they tried to get access to the communication system, to the telephone communication system without paying. So this could be seen as the first hackers, the telephone hackers, the phreakers. And what they did, they searched for flaws in telephone systems, then to make cheaper use or even free phone calls. For you in our days, we have to remember that to make long distance calls in that time was extremely expensive. So there was a big motivation to get it cheaper or even to do it for free. Of course, this is a criminal activity. So this criminal activities was explained with a confused ideological adjustment, and this adjustment said freedom for communication, it's a prerequisite for freedom of humanity. And in this light, with this confused ideological justification, the phreaker had the feeling to do something for the freedom of humanity when they did criminal attacks against the telecom companies. The scene was organized by means of underground journals. A famous one was this YIPL, the Youth International Party Line, later known as TAP, Technological American Party. So this could be considered as the first hacker magazine. An example for that type of hacker activity was blue boxing. Connections could supposedly be terminated by a control tone of a special frequency, but the line to the switching center remained open. Then later on, it could be misused. So this was an example of such a phone phreak attack. So the phreakers could use this line, this open line, for their communication without paying tariff. So the blue box, this was a device for generating various control tones for doing such type of attacks. The first generation of computer hackers, we have to say, when the personal computer became popular, then the hacker community grew as well. The goal was the infiltration of computer networks. For example, Kevin Mitnick, this is a famous computer hacker of that time. He got sentenced in 1982 because he infiltrated the telecommunication company PacBell and stole important documents. Here you see there was a connection to the phone phreakers. In Germany, in 1981, the CCC, the Chaos Computer Club, was founded. It started as a German community, but in late decades, they became an international community. Since '84, each year they organize Congress, the Chaos Communication Congress, C3, and the last one took place in Leipzig in 2017, and year before it was in Hamburg, so with the motto, works for me. Spectacular hacks that revealed software errors and vulnerabilities which were performed by CCC was, for example, the attack against the newly introduced BTX service of the Hamburger Sparkasse. So the members of the CCC, they hacked this and they transferred 134 Deutschmark to the Chaos Computer Club. In '96, to mention only one of the other activities of CCC, they demonstrated an attack against Microsoft's ActiveX to show that there is easy and the possibility to attack such a very popular system. In 1998, members of the Chaos Computer Club cracked the COMP 128 encryption algorithm, which was used in many GSM SIM cards. 2008, the Chaos Computer Club to protest against the use of biometric data in German ID cards. The Computer Chaos Group published the fingerprints of the Federal Minister of the Interior, Wolfgang Schäuble. Another spectacular action of the Computer Chaos Group was 2011, where they published the technical analytics of the purely engineered Bundestrojaner federal spy software. If we look to the hacking scene in the 90s of the last century, then one could state that there was a rapid spread of computer systems that lead to equally rapid development of hacking activities. So for example, the state legal systems began to pay attention and to enact legal regulations. For example, the Computer Misuse Act in Great Britain in 1990, and US and Germany and other countries. So attacks on computer systems were classified as criminal, and at the same time we can see that these attacks are performed increasingly automated. Automated worms, scanners, or other attack tools cause huge flood of security incident. The quantity of the log messages in IT systems grow rapidly. So the new type of security systems were developed, for example, the so-called intrusion detection systems, the IDS. They should help the administrator to observe whether the system is in a normal work situation or whether it's under attack. Monitoring systems were developed in that years to defend, or at least to see that there are attacks, that there are ongoing attacks. So then if we look to computer crime in the early 2000 years, almost every computer system now in that time became connected to the internet an open network. We discussed this already. So as a result, the number of security incidents increased dramatically. Viruses, worms, Trojans became popular, botnets occurred, industrial espionage became was extended to large extent. Any large company had to implement own departments for IT security, find specialists that take care that the IT system of the company runs in a secure way. Hacking software became more and more sophisticated and became easily available on the internet, so the number of script kiddies increased, and the appearance of underground networks such as Tor or ISP or Freenet became popular. Only a few remarks to cyber crime and cyber war activities today. So security services in most countries establish cyber defense departments. Cyber defense departments for interior and exterior protection. For example, in Germany, that's the National Cyber Defense Center. In the NATO has the Cooperative Cyber Defense Center of Excellence. In the US, they established the United States Cyber Command, and also in China, the PLA Unit 61398 was established. Some famous act of which was classified as cyber war activity was the following: that in 2007 there was an attack in Estonia. So internet services of the government, of banks, were attacked by distributed denial of service attacks with huge impact on society and on the economy. So for that reason, this was not an attack against the business or against the single unit. It was an attack against the state, Estonia, and the Estonian government accused Russia of attacks resulting from a conflict with Russia between about a war memorial that was taken away by the Estonians. So to continue with some current cyber attacks, let's look back to August 2016. Here, shadow brokers claimed to have infiltrated a system of the NSA and retrieved multiple tools, vulnerabilities. And the question was it true or not? But slowly they released insights, for example, information about eternal blue vulnerability that was used in WannaCry and Petya. In October 2016, the Mirai botnet performed a powerful denial of service attack against Dyn, its DNS provider. So the effect was that the multiple high-profile websites, for example, Netflix, GitHub, Twitter, were not available for hours. Another popular attack was in May 2017, when several types of ransomware, for example, WannaCry, Petya, not Petya, infected numerous systems, encrypted the data on that computer, and then blackmailed money to recover the data. So also such an attack was against a hospital, so that the system were not more working not more correctly. So this really dangerous attacks. Then in October 2017, to mention it at last, researchers detected a crack vulnerability in the WPA2 encryption data phone for mobile computing. It was considered as a secure system up to that moment. And the idea, the vulnerability was that that it could be forced to reuse a nonsense and to enable the cracking of the session key. The attacker, in that way, applying this, exploiting this vulnerability, could read along the traffic between other clients and router in the same Wi-Fi net. And so from this attack, it becomes obvious that one needs to use HTTPS as a second level for security whenever one is using mobile computing. Meanwhile, there are many updates to repair this security goal. There are much more attacks, but only to give an idea about the huge variety of what's going on there in the cybercrime scene.